Welcome back to Inspirimint, everybody. This is a very, very special episode because your host, yours truly, it's Bald Boy, is back. We fucking survived. We did it.
Hey now.
Absolutely, bro. They can't keep us down. They can keep pushing, but they can't keep us down. So we came back. I'm fully over being sick now, and it feels so fucking good. But for this episode, we were thinking about diving a little bit or starting off with talking about collaboration. And the reason why is because I think a lot of artists, a lot of creatives, a lot of people in general love the idea of working with people. But when it comes to presenting that to people, when it comes to experiencing the downsides of not having all of your opinions be the executive opinions, that kind of thing, I think that you run into some issues. So I do personally believe there is a positive and a negative, a good time and a bad time to collaborating with people. So I'm going to pass this over to Dylan and Sean. So I think both of you guys have worked with brands in the past, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So do one of you gentlemen want to lead off and talk about like your experience with collaboration, then we can get into the goods and bads of it and whatnot?
Dylan, you want to go?
Yes, sure. So it depends on, every brand might have a different idea for what they want to do. I think a pretty cool one a couple years back was a collab that I did with eBay where they were celebrating their 25th anniversary. And they had 25 pairs of custom shoes made, 5 pairs from 5 different artists. And that was a really cool one to help celebrate, the 25 years, 5 different silhouettes we got to do. They gave us, some loose framework to work within, but we still got to, put some of our own twist on there. And it was cool to see what the 5 different artists did. So yeah, brand collabs can be really cool. I've done some with I just did another one this year with a gas station brand, Come and Go. And so you never know who might want to do something with you. I also did another one with Lowe's this year. They were celebrating 100 years of their 100 house foundation. So I mean, you never know what opportunities might come your way. And I think that custom shoes in general make for such a unique gift and thing that people still haven't heard of, that brands will always be open to finding new cool marketing tactics such as custom shoes.
Bro, can we address that their name is Come and Go? I've
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
Can we just not gloss
Yeah.
over that for a second? That's all I need to say on it, but I just want to make sure that didn't go unnoticed. I've also
No, it's awesome. They play into it too, like on their social media and stuff. Like they're really goofy, but they're like a gas station chain that it's not in all the states. It's in a lot of the Midwest. I don't believe there's any here in Illinois. I've never seen one. But yeah, super funny, man.
I just fucking
And they made their own shoe. They got their own
no
shoe made.
way.
Yeah.
Dude, what is it about? So like, why do you guys do you think it's the novelty of it that people like whenever it comes to doing branding with like shoe customizers? Like because I sometimes think to myself, why shoes? Like I know why I got into shoes, but like what about it is appealing to brands?
Maybe they like shoes, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they don't.
There's only so many stickers and keychains and hats that you can give away. You know what I mean? So this is something outside of the box, quite literally. And I think it's a lot of fun. You know what I mean? I think they see what a lot of people in our space are doing in terms of their content and what they're creating too. So they believe they can build off of your audience and the way that you're able to present the project. So makes a lot of sense.
So what was your experience with eBay? Like, I guess specifically, what did you like about the experience? What did you dislike and how did you come into it?
Yeah, so likes and dislikes, things like that. The first dislike that pops off the bat is usually you're working on incredibly tight deadlines. Not usually, basically always when it comes to brands, since it's corporate, there's going to be contracts, there's going to be negotiations, and there's going to be deadlines, and it's going to be faster than you expect. So that part's tricky, and you need to know how to work with it and know what you can handle, basically. Pros are that a lot of times you get to showcase your work to a larger audience, which is great. good way to build your following. And a lot of times, a lot of brand deals can be quite lucrative for you as an artist. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's something that, you know, you could say it's hard to track down. You know what I mean? There's not necessarily a website that we as independent artists can go to find brand deals, but it's just about constantly putting yourself out there and trying to grow your audience so that you can be more appealing to brands. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times they're going to want to work with you for your audience. So having a big audience yourself is only going to make you more appealing to them.
Mm, mm. Did you? So my issue with collaborating, and I know you guys know this. I know a lot of my community knows this too, and I know it's so fucking pretentious. I'm gonna fully acknowledge it, but I struggle when my entire focus is on art, and I'm trying to create shows for galleries coming up, and I'm trying to appeal to that niche that I feel it takes away from what I've achieved in the image that I've gathered if I take brand deals openly. So like if somebody was like, hey, I want you to use my paint. If you like it, keep going. Then I'm like, cool, that sounds great. I'm like, if you want to give me paint, then if I like it, I'll tell people I like it. That's cool. But if fucking Grubhub reaches out and they're like, dude, we want you to do 10 5-minute, whatever's on like something like this, like our podcast, I would love to do that. I think it'd be amazing. Because that's the kind of platform that we're building. But like if it's on my Instagram or on my website and that kind of thing, where that's where I'm building a portfolio, I struggle to like feel like the money is worth it at that point. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you because I get it. It's like when you're in the zone, it's like stuff like that kind of distracts you and takes you out of your element. Like I think like 'cause Dylan gets all the big brand deals, man. He's popping. Like me, I've only had like one like that, maybe two, and it was cool. It's just this is why like when he talked about the contract, you have to actually read it. And if you don't understand the legalese, have somebody that does read it for you.
Yep.
And make sure that everything is cool. Because like the situation with me, it's like when I finished the shoes, they didn't want to pay me. They wanted to wait until the shoes were delivered, and I had to ship them to Canada. And I'm just like, no.
Was that in the contract?
Yeah, and exactly. And so they were trying to like do some loophole type stuff until I pulled the contract back up, sent it to them. Then after that, it was just kind of like, oh, here's the money. So that's why you always have to kind of read your contracts and stuff like that. But like with me, a lot of my collabs, I guess, I mean, would you consider like content and like magazine articles and stuff like that? So I'm fortunate I can produce the stuff that I want to produce, and I'm collabing in a way of working with like a magazine or doing like interviews or content, and if that's even considered a collab outside of like brand deals. If that is that a collab?
Dude, I mean, I'd fucking say so. I think we can run the gambit on different collabs and the pros and cons of it, right? Because like that's a great point. I mean, because we were just talking about with Dylan brand collabs, and that's mostly because that's what I've associated Dylan and his brand with. It's like working with big names, working with different companies, players, and whatnot. But like you, Sean, I'd love to hear about your experience. You said it's primarily with like content and magazines has been your collabs?
Like Sneaker Freaker, or I've had like this other one like Voyage. I mean, even like I'll consider the gallery kind of like a collab, right?
Gallery Sakura.
Yeah, we worked together to produce a product to help them put on an art show, and then they made a book out of it. There's different ones. I have another one coming up that I have to get started on next week, but all of those things still you get contracts, so you still kind of have to go over that, because when it comes to like content, I know like the one that I'm about to do, it's more so like the music. So now I have to change like the music in some of my content, because now you get them copyright strikes. They want no parts of it.
I don't fucking blame them, bro. That's rough water. That's uncharted territory. My goodness gracious. But yeah, dude, I like the idea of the magazines a lot. Like when I saw you doing that, but that's another thing. Like, how did you come into the magazines, right? Because I would love all my experience with collabs has been with people. It's like I see something in your work and you see something in mine, and we feel like together we could bring something beautiful into the world. So like I have knowledge on that and we like to share. But as far as like magazines and brands go, I have literally no experience on it. Did you feel as kind of the same way with the magazines where you're like, man, you really gotta read the fucking contract?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't like, bro, I'm not even gonna hold you. Like when it comes to legalese, I have my wife check it first, and then my wife's friend is in law school, so I have her check it. Because like the legalese, bro, will confuse the hell out of you if you really don't know what you're reading. Like,
find someone who knows someone.
Yeah, bro. It's like I think they do it on purpose.
Oh, dude, there's no way they don't. Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, if like I can't reiterate enough, if you don't understand the contract of what you're reading, have somebody read it for you, because you could literally be signing your life away and not even know it.
Damn. It's fucking intense. I was wondering on top of that, Sean, like if you when you work with the magazine Sneaker Freaker, was it like they reach out to you type thing, and then if you're just one of the lucky chosen ones, you're like, all right, sit?
Yeah. Okay, so like with Sneaker Freaker, because they started reposting my work, and it was a Orochimaru shoe they reposted, and it got like 80,000 likes on their page. And so they hit me up, was like, hey man, the shoes we posted of yours went nuts, and we kind of just wanted to, learn more about the artist or whatever. And then it went from that to like the interview, and they brought up the magazine. I was like, dope.
Yeah.
So I hopped on a few calls, and everything was cool. And what really solidified it for me was I mentioned Kilo, and they were just like, yo, why won't you just make the shoe and we can just feature it in the magazine? I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan, Stan.
Yeah, buddy.
And rest is history, man. It was smooth. Everybody I talked to over there are really nice, great people. Everything they said they were going to do, they did. So, it was a dope experience.
Dude, that's amazing. I love to hear that. I still want more Kilo, bro, so bad. And also, you son of a bitch, we need to make the AR stuff for it too. We definitely need to because remember we talked about it on the one live on Instagram, and I've been so pumped ever since. And then you went on a freaking hiatus for like a month and a half after that. And then I was like, I guess we're not doing that then.
I'm gonna do it, man. It's like I have other stuff that I want to do for it. It's just I got like 2 commissions I have to do, and then I have to do a pair for a giveaway winner. And the giveaway winner's been like really cool about it, because I've been owning him shoes for like a year.
Damn.
And then after that, I'm thinking of maybe doing something for Halloween. For some reason, I got an idea to do like another Thriller pair, kind of like remaking the old ones. And then after that, I might do Kilo. It's either I'm gonna do a Kilo pair for Halloween or the Thriller pair. I haven't decided yet. So yeah.
That's dope, bro. I love that shit. I would love to see another Thriller pair. I actually liked your original pair, to be honest.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah. That does like transition, and like me giving Sean shit. I would love to talk about collaborating with artists too, because I think especially in our custom space, that's like the most prevalent and also really the most open to anybody. Have you gentlemen experienced working with other artists, and what do you see are the pros and cons?
You want me to go, or you want to go, Dylan?
Go ahead, man.
I think there's pros and cons, like there's pros and cons to everything. I think it's dope. You guys get to mix your audience, right? So you can help the other artists grow, the other artists can help you grow. It's a chance to both of you guys to showcase your art and what it is you're doing, like taking your ideas and making it one. And then, the amount of content you can do it, like I said, do with it is pretty dope. I've done collabs. I think I've really only done like maybe 1 or 2. And I've not opposed to it. It's just how I am is I'm more of like a solo dolo type person, because then I don't have to worry about other people, because we've had collabs where we were supposed to be doing it and it never happened. Right. And I think that is kind of like one of the things to where it's unfortunate, but it's kind of also like why for me personally, I don't usually do them. Because a lot of times, especially when you have more people involved, if it's like one other artist, normally that's fine. But the more moving parts you have, it kind of complicates things because you have everybody's schedules you have to worry about. And there's been several collabs where it was supposed to be this big collab and it just never happened due to everybody being busy. And it's just kind of like you start setting out time to make it happen or start designing stuff, and then it's just kind of like falls by the wayside, and you're just like, well, that's unfortunate. But I think collabs are good. I think you should want to make sure who you're collabing with is in the same mindset you're in, right? Like, not everybody should be a collab partner. You may be going this direction, they may be going that direction. You kind of want to make sure you're headed in the same way for the collab to be successful.
Yeah, dude, I would say I would love to hear your thoughts on this too, Dylan, for sure, because I know in my experience, I can second what Sean said like 100%. I just fucking like, there have been so many times where ideas that I probably could have executed on myself, I tried to like go in with somebody else. I don't know if I'm being honest with myself, I think sometimes, like, especially whenever I first started out, it was kind of a like do it to do it type thing. It was like people are collabing. It sounds like fun. Let's do it. But it wasn't really like there's no defined boundaries. There was no clear objective with things. And that's where it failed for sure, because it ended up just being somebody trying to drag somebody else into some fucking ether, like some world in which everybody's happy and some beautiful piece of art comes out. But the reality is that neither of you guys have been on the same page from the beginning,
Absolutely. Yeah. I think some of the stuff that comes to my mind when, we start talking about artist collabs, whether that's, hey, let's, create some content together, or let's create, a singular pair of shoes, whatever the case may be. I think it's so important very early on to establish real guidelines and actually, if it's your idea, you're the one who's wanting to make it happen, actually start to take steps to make things happen, because it's just so easy to reach out to an artist and be like, hey, we should do something. Yeah, sure, I'm down. And then it just never go anywhere. Oh, okay. Like, hey, do you think you're down to do this? Yeah. Okay, cool. Like, when do you think you would have some free time to do it? None of us have free time. You know what I mean? So unless you're willing to actually create, put stuff in place on how you guys are going to make this happen, it's just going to fall by the wayside. I mean, so often I'm sure each of you guys have been hit up by other people saying, hey, I'd love to work with you. You know what I mean? And as much as you would love to too, it's just not going to happen unless somebody actually puts their foot forward and makes things happen.
Yeah.
Just for example, like one of the collabs that I did that I know you guys know about was a video that I did with Vic last year.
Mm-hmm.
And we both decided to, I wanted to bounce off Vic's whole movement of swoosh Sundays, where she was just painting these really detailed swooshes. And I said, hey, I'd like to do something like that. We could talk about it after, and let's just create a cool video of both of us, painting a swoosh on a pair of Air Forces. And so I said, I'm going to go ahead and film my entire portion of the video, have everything done, in terms of painting the shoe, having the edit ready, and send it off to Vic and say, hey, I already have everything done on my end. I just need you to film your part, and then I'll put everything together. And, she was down, and I said, look, get it to me whenever you can. I know how it goes. Like, you're not going to be able to turn this out tomorrow. So take your time. And then whenever you're ready, I'll take it from there. And so I think that in a way is like kind of the way you need to go about it, that if you have an idea and you have somebody who you think would be down, will actually do something for the idea, not just ask if they're down for the idea.
Yeah.
Do something to actually make it happen. You know what I mean?
You got to treat collabs like Shark Tank, right? You got to have a pitch.
Yes,
like
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
Like people on Shark Tank just don't go up there like, hey man, I got this product I want to sell.
Yeah, you need
They have an idea of what it is they want to do, right? Because even like Dylan said, like Vic was I think my only real collab in that way. She hit me up, had an idea, and we bounced ideas off of each other right away, and we came up with the Mario and Peach Air Force Ones for Valentine's Day. But have an idea of what it is you want to do. Like, just don't, like you said, just don't DM somebody, say, hey, I want to collab with you. You have to sell it. You know, it has to sound good for people to go, okay, let's do it. So
that's dude, and this is all wrapping up. Like this, everything we're talking about feels like a nice little fucking package, because I also think in that way, like there needs to be value to kind of sum it up, right? Like going off what you were saying, Sean, you know, if you pitch it to somebody, at the end of the day, like collaborations, at least to me, are like it's really like entering a partnership for a little while. You know, like everybody needs to get out of it like what they need to get out of it. You know, you're not, most of the time, if you just go into a collaboration with a friend, if you're trying to get something out of it, then it's probably not going to end up happening. Those are the times that I've noticed it fizzles out. But if I go into something and I'm like, hey, you know, I see what you're doing. I see what I'm doing. And I think that we can achieve, you know, a pair of shoes that the world hasn't seen before. I can get all of my stuff done and then send it out your way and come up with a plan and say we can get great exposure with this. And I think that'll introduce something entirely new into the community. Then at that point, it's up to that person whether or not that's enough value to like take on a project like that. And if it is, then why would they drop it, you know? So I think that that's like an amazing point. I was also going to say too, my issue in the past has been taking on too much, which I don't know if you guys have run into the same thing, but I've done a collaboration with Kira Made This, and the time that we did that, like it was like 5 3D videos I made and like 3 different iterations of a pair of shoes and like final pictures several times, and like it was like 2 weeks worth of posts for one pair of shoes. And I just it was like 12-hour days for 2 weeks, and I just hated every second of it towards the end. It was so bad.
Wait, is that the Air Force Ones you guys made, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the idea was so dope. It was so dope, and the shoe is so dope, and I loved how it came out, but like everything could have been made into one video and one pair of shoes, and everything would have came across significantly better, you know? So that's been my issue.
Yeah, I think those are one of those situations where you live and you learn.
Yeah. Did you guys bite off more than you can chew with your collabs, or you feel like it was something you could pretty much handle?
I always have too much on my plate. You just learn to live with it, man. You just learn to figure it out.
That's fucking fair, bro.
Yep.
I want to be like Daddy Dylan when I grow up.
What do they say? You can't be mad that your plate is full when the goal was to eat, right?
True.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yes, sir.
That's very true. Dude, that's actually something I've been battling recently. Not battling in a bad way, but like I've had a whole new appreciation for the situation that I'm in. And I don't know why. I just used to like slog through days that I had to like edit and do like behind the scenes AR stuff. I was just like, man, these just are fucking killing me. And I just didn't want to do it all day. And then so a light bulb just switched, and I was like, man, it's kind of wild that like 2 years ago, I was begging myself to work on something. So I felt like I had like a purpose, you know, and I felt like I was moving forward. And now like the days go by and I can't possibly finish enough work to like feel done, you know?
Feel that.
Oh, it is, man. Mm-hmm. Oh, it is, man.
Plus, y'all got families too. How fucking old, Jesus Christ.
Sure do.
So fucking old. Wait, Sean, how old are you?
Me, I'm 34.
Oh boy.
I'm old, bro.
Sean, we're about to kick Sean. Sean's about to be retired.
Hey, if retirement means retired, I got money to retire. You absolutely right. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll just keep fucking blowing up, dude. Daddy Dylan's gonna, you know, pay your 401k for you, get you up to a quick milli, and then you're just gonna be Audi 5 Dowie. Just goes.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It ain't easy. I tell people all the time, oh yeah, I want to be a full-time artist. Are you sure you want to do this full-time, player? You ask yourself. And you know, if you set on it, I mean, I love it, but I say it ain't for the faint of heart, man. Let's be honest. There's always that time. I mean, I speak for myself, especially with commissions, right? It's gonna slow down, and you sitting there looking at your bank account like, man, I got mortgage to pay this month, man. What's gonna happen? There's no steady check. There's no I get paid every Friday.
Yep.
Yeah, so you have to be smart with your money too, man. So it's a lot to take into consideration.
Yeah, bro. I actually just today was talking to my old my old college professor, my painting professor, and he was telling me, he's like, yeah, dude, he's like, I'm in the studio painting 30 hours a week on top of the full-time job that he has as a professor. And then he was like, and anytime I'm not painting or teaching, I'm constantly applying to galleries for opportunities. And he's like, that is the whole life. That's it. If you're not willing to do that, then don't even try, because and that really is what it feels like. Like even the last 2 years, if somebody asked me if I like busted ass, I'd say for sure. But now I'm looking at it and like understanding my current work ethic and what I did. And I'm like, to get to where I want to be, bro, it's just another level. And that's just before any responsibilities I have.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's a little harder for what we do because we're doing it on shoes. Right. So like a lot of time when people hear our price point, if I'm not paying that for a shoe, we talk about it all the time, but somebody just sold a canvas painting for like $90,000, bro. Nobody thinks nothing of it, because I don't know why or when it's going to switch, but artwork on shoes is viewed different than artwork on a canvas. Why that is, I mean, maybe because it's fashion. It's unfortunate. Hopefully it switches soon. But like I said, you can tell somebody I paint shoes for $1,000. That's too much. But people are buying canvas work for $100K.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, bro.
Bro, you know what I've been thinking recently? And I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know if this is actually what I'll do, but you know, you and I have talked about that a million times, Sean. And I kind of, my inner being wants to just fight the system and just fucking charge whatever the fuck I want to charge, because I know what they're worth, you know? But then you're like, well, the golden rule of business is like, don't create something that doesn't currently have a market. And if you do, you just have to understand that such a small amount of people that do that like actually succeed in a meaningful way. And I'm like, man, now that I'm getting into art and or like, more traditional mediums like canvas and sculpture and 3D work and whatnot, and I have this like arsenal of mediums around me, I've been constantly playing with the idea of like, maybe I do just price them as shoes. Like maybe I make designs that I'm cool with selling for $500, $600, and that's where the shoe part goes. Maybe that's just like one part of this, because dude, I don't know about you, but it's exhausting trying to like constantly prove and like reiterate to people, like that it's worth it. That's very tiring to me.
Yep. I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. I don't know if it's the mental block of it being a shoe, so people still see the shoe first. Like, I'm not spending $1,000 on some sneakers. It's fashion. I get it. I don't know, man. Hopefully it switches soon. Because like I said, I joke with my wife, like, even though I love what I do, I say there's a man, if I was as good as I am painting, but I was a rapper, like, do you know how much money I'd have?
Exactly.
Like, I was blessed with painting. If I was like Drake, like I would, like if I was a rapper, like if you guys were a rapper or a musician, you're talking about punk rock, like if you picked up a guitar, Dylan, and you were as a good as guitar player as you were making shoes, like 4 times platinum right now, bro.
Oh man, wild, man.
It is what it is, man. It's just look forward. I think for me, I just try to find ways to, I don't know how to make it look more like art, because I still like to wear things and stuff, but I don't know. I think that's why the display thing I started was to make it look more like a piece of art as opposed to just a shoe. And I think maybe a display will help that in a sense, but I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thought, Zach, because who knows, maybe like the $400 to $600 price range might be somewhat of like a missing a weak point sort of in the market, whereas you have so many people starting out that are maybe selling shoes for 100 to 200 even with the shoes included and stuff. And then, towards your higher end you'll have people 1,000 to 2,000 or whatever, so maybe somewhere in that medium range could be, an entry into the market that isn't currently being taken advantage of. But I don't know, at the same time, I just, the longer and longer we do this, the more and more people I talk to and help, the more and more I just believe that you just can't count on just commissions. If you're really trying to make a healthy income and really be able to provide for yourself and a family and things like that, it can't be just what you can do with your two hands, because you have to do your own sales and marketing at the same time and then count on yourself to do all the commissions. That you just need to have multiple sources of income. And that's not going to be the same for everyone, but that's sort of going to be something that you figure out along the way. How else can you make money within the industry?
Mhm.
Yeah, dude. I honestly, my entire vision of things has changed in 2 years, especially from talking to you gentlemen. Um, because I've always understood that like multiple revenue streams are like necessary. It's like you don't want to put all your money into like a blue chip stock and then just hope that it blows the fuck up. Like that's kind of what most people do with commissions. Um, but at the same time, I do, as time goes on, I feel that it's even more necessary and important to like understand what your strengths are and how they compare to the demand of whatever community you've built. Because I I love my shoes and I value them so highly. I would place them higher than I even price them now. Um, but that being said, the demand has never, if you looked at it as a business, the demand has never been there for it to be a business. No matter what I want to say. I've sold shoes at that price point plenty of times. I've sold shoes at $1,300. I've sold shoes at $900, $800, $600. It doesn't matter. But like in a nutshell, comparing revenue to the amount of time I've been doing it, it is not there. It would not make sense to do that. So to me, I wasn't willing to compromise quality ever, and I wasn't willing to compromise the value of the shoes. So I said, all right, well, we're gonna have to figure something else the fuck out. Like I have to either start a YouTube, I either have to start podcasts, we either have to sell AR shoes, go into 3D, work on canvases, whatever it is. Like I gotta figure out something that's gonna pay the bills. But that being said, if I had a pair of shoes like Lorenzo G, right? He sells his shoes, sometimes he sells out $2,500 shoes. He'll do 20 of them and sell it like a hotcake. But that's because his community has told him and had the demand for that at that price point. And I didn't have that. So I think that it's very important just to be able to have like a very not narrow, very wide view of what's going on and what people want compared to what you want to make.
Yeah, see, when you say that, like it makes you think, because there's people that, okay, so the Ren's stuff are considered more of fashion, right? They're dyed sneakers. So people are more than, it's like people are more willing to pay for that as it is to pay for paint, right? Like even a shoe surgeon sells his shoes for 5 to 10 grand, bro, easy. Nobody says anything.
Wait, who?
The shoe surgeon.
Oh, yeah.
But when it comes to painting them and putting characters in them, or it's like for some reason when you take a paintbrush or an airbrush and touch it to a shoe, people view that as kind of like vandalizing it. So it's like it loses value to a lot of people, especially within like the sneaker market. But they'll take aging and dying because for some reason to them, the integrity of the shoe is still there. So it's like one of those things to where it's like a very thin line, and it's like, I don't know, man, it's weird. It's like customs have came a long way of how people viewed them, but it's still kind of there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, maybe they sort of lack that high-end fashion feel typically, or it could have something to do with a lot of people who maybe don't know or have had a bad experience or something might right away think, oh, are these going to crack? Are these going to chip? Are these not going to look how they look now as soon as I wear them, or something along those lines? So right away, is their value going to be less as soon as I am in possession of them, you know?
Yeah, bro, it's where it's like, you know, the rims and stuff is dope, but like think about. I mean, I don't know how long it takes, but think about how long it takes to dye a shoe compared to somebody doing like original artwork, hand painting something. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't matter. It's like the final result. Oh, it's still an Air Max, but when you paint it, it's kind of like,
Well, and see, dude, it's fascinating because like in my opinion, there are a couple people that have broken that mold too. The kind of the painting barrier, I'll call it, because it's for sure there. But Andu.c, for example, he did like the tree hugger dunks, where most of what he does is concepts, but then from time to time, like he's posted videos of his process and put Angelus paints in it, and they do great. And it's like I think it is starting to change, which is very I don't know, it's very validating in a way. And I really like seeing that. But you know, it's an entirely new approach to things where like this whole community of concept artists that put like, you know, cars, you turn cars into shoes, and you know, these big brands that are like a little bit more underground, like hidden, you know, a lot of anime characters and concepts going on shoes, but more as like color blocking than it is actual, you know, actual characters. That kind of stuff is blowing up. And like Andu is a great example to me because like he does drops that are painted shoes. Like he has I think it's Majin Buu. That's a character, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm so fucking good at my job. Holy shit. I've never even seen it. I've never seen it in my life. But yeah, Majin Buu was like on one of the shoes and it was just a color blocking and it did great. I like did awesome. So I think it's starting to go that direction a little bit more. But I think a lot of it still is just branding and production, you know.
I mean, it's there. I mean, there's plenty of artists that paint that sell at a higher price, but I think once you go over a certain amount of artwork, it's viewed differently. Like Andu, his stuff it's still like you said, it's color blocks, so it still is like the silhouette of a shoe. Like even like the stuff that I do, right? Like the sneakerheads are more accepting of my color block, like something like the Joker, to where it's kind of artsy but not too much, as opposed to when I put characters on the shoe. If that makes sense. It's like once you get too artistic and you do too much to it, then it becomes more of like, I'm cool on that.
Yep. I think something to do with that could be like, you know, for example, even your Joker pair would be on the extreme end of this, but this looks like it could still potentially be a release. You know what I mean? Like who knows if Jordan were to collab with DC and do a Joker drop or the release of a video game, something like that. This is something that you may end up with. Whereas whoever's collabing with any company, you're not going to get the character plastered all over the side of the shoe. So it no longer looks like something that could potentially be a limited rare release, you know?
Yeah.
True. Dylan, okay, so I got a weird question for you. So I'm going to try to phrase this in a succinct way. You, to me, have stayed relevant for many reasons over a long period of time. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems what has kept you most relevant has been, you know, your willingness to engage in the community and YouTube tutorials, like being very community centered, equally as much, if not more so, than the actual work itself. Do you think that's true?
1,000%. Yep.
Okay.
By design.
Okay. And because to me, I know your style, but to me, that's not what I think of whenever I think of you.
Good.
How have you like you just mentioned that that's something that you've very consciously thought about and recognized and moved forward in that direction. How does that kind of make you feel in the grand scheme of things that, you're judged and evaluated more on your ability to like stay with the community than all of the hard work and effort you put into your shoes?
I think it's validating in a way, because if I wasn't able to prove that I could do hopefully anything that comes my way, then there's no reason that anybody should reasonably listen to the advice that I give. You know what I mean?
True.
But because thankfully I believe I'm, able to handle whether it's football cleats or simple color blocking, or if I have to do an anime pair, cool, or if I have to do a freestyle where it's totally up to me, I can execute it. And, that's something that I think I've always wanted to be able to handle. And then hopefully I can then speak about, my experience within those areas of our craft. And hopefully people can learn, from my experience with it. And I know that in any space, fashion, custom sneakers, there's trends, you know what I mean? Things come and go. Artists can be more relevant at different times and stuff. But if I'm constantly working on not only having like a signature style that's trendy at the moment, if I can always be, preaching about helping how new people can get involved, then in a way, I'm always going to hopefully stay relevant if I'm always talking about relevant things. Here's the new products that are, that have come out over the last year that are great for customizers. And here's 10 things that I've learned in 10 years of experience, you know what I mean? And not just being solely focused on here's the latest piece that somebody commissioned for me to paint Chicago Bears Jordan 1. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, absolutely. That actually sparks an idea for me. I think a couple years from now, I'm gonna make a YouTube video that's titled "What It's Like to Carry Two Old Men to Success."
There you go, man.
Yeah,
good topic.
I think a
Good
lot of
topic.
people will be curious about
I
that.
believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so, man. I'd watch.
This dude.
Oh man.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited to see the future. Sean, I am very hopeful because I know a lot of the times we talk, it's kind of like, I don't know. I think sometimes things feel kind of doom and gloomy, like we're fighting against the odds all the time. But I am very hopeful, like in just seeing how things were 2 years ago, whenever I first started back up again, compared to where they are now, and the people that have popped up and gained popularity, and how all three of our audiences have grown. And no matter what endeavors we've gone on, like no matter how new they are, whether it's like Sean with Kilo or, Dylan with the different brands working with or changing of different work, whatever, or new videos, then like everybody has grown and things have eventually become receptive. So, I think it's I think it's naive to assume that's not going to continue to happen,
I mean, I think some of the doom and gloom also comes from social media, right? Like as soon as you feel like you have something figured out, they change the algorithm, and then you figure that out. It switches from now photos don't really get engagement. You got to do reels. And then I was probably going to be like, once you figure the reels out, they want to switch to like the little TV one, and then you have to make longer ones. You figure that out, then they just want to create a whole new app. Like it's always something. And I think that's the pressure a lot of people feel, because it's like, a lot of us just want to get back to what Instagram was. Man, I want to paint, post a picture, and be Gucci. But it's not like that anymore, guys.
Well, dude, I will say, I feel literally the exact same way. I actually told Mel I was really close. Well, on many occasions, I think I'm gonna quit, but that's not the reality. Like, I think everybody kind of goes through. But there's like one or two times where I was really like, really, really down that I could not figure out content that I liked that would do well. Every time I posted something that was made to satisfy my need for like an interesting, creative, like well-made video, but also cater towards, you know, the algorithm or an audience or whatever, and it tanked, it just fucking like my fucking motivation to do it just kept going down and down. And I kind of realized that, you know, that was because I put so much weight into it and that it felt like a this needs to work or I'm through type of thing. But like I think the reality is, and what I realized is, especially with going the art route, there's a whole world of artists that make amazing livings that do not have any relevancy on social media.
Yep.
Like what you're saying you want to do, Sean, is what like 90, if not more, percent of artists, like full-time professional artists, do is they just have a portfolio to introduce to galleries, to get shows. They travel for residency. So like when they post shit, they don't care if it does well, because like the people that appreciate it, the people that don't, and you still make a good living making actual money in the art world, you know?
Yeah. I was laughing because I think I think we've all been there. I've been there for sure. And it's like, I'm gonna quit. And you really think, are you really gonna quit? No. And it's like, I think I'm to the point now to where it's like how you say you post stuff to please the algorithm and it still doesn't do well. So I might as well just post what I want if it's not going to do well. So I think that was just like my mindset, man. I just kind of just stopped caring. And I think, and so now it's like how you said, doing local stuff, seeing if art galleries will take in some sneakers, bro.
Mm-hmm. It's easy to say just stop caring and don't worry and just post what you want, which is great advice. Sometimes that can send you further down a dark rabbit hole too. You know, if you continue to do that and it doesn't work, and then you just punish yourself even more for it. So sometimes another one is one for you, one for me. I'm going to do something for the algorithm here. I'm going to do something for me here. You know what I mean? Try to create some type of healthy balance with it, you know? And I think it's all about being willing to accept change and evolution. I mean, years back, think of how many people wanted to not accept the push for going from radio to TV and things like that, or from TV to streaming and stuff. Like stuff's just always going to change. And you know, TikTok being a big thing, really hurting our attention spans over the last couple years and stuff. You just got to be willing to evolve. Believe me, I'm sure all of us would like to be able to just fall off into the abyss, but somehow still have enough clients to do more than pay the bills and just paint all day. But sometimes I believe like the best thing you can do is try to control what you can control, and you know, sort of, you know, get a hold of what you can and try to make things happen for yourself. And if you're not currently in a position where you can fall off into the abyss and just paint all day, then here's, you know, social media is a free way to market yourself. Whereas before you had to pay to advertise in newspapers or on the radio or whatever. So now you have this free thing where you can find clients from all around the world. That's we're in a pretty nice spot. You know what I mean? A lot of us wouldn't be doing this job without social media, you know? So in a way, social media has created so many cool jobs that weren't there before, you know? So as much as you may think it's the bane of your existence, it's you know, it's a game we got to play.
Yeah.
Man, get all that. Forget the evolution. Give me back MySpace, bro.
Let's revert. Let's revert.
Buddy.
No, I 100% agree with what you said, Dylan, to be honest. Like that's kind of exactly the conclusion I came to as well. I was like, well, I can't stop. I was like, it just doesn't even make sense. I was like, if I consider this a business or want it to be a business in the future, then it makes really no sense to stop unless, like you said, I'm in a place that I can like make enough money without social media, you know? But at the same time, you know, if I focus too much on it, it very, very actively like degrades my mental health, and then it makes me want to create less, and then I make less content, and I feel worse about not making as much content. So it's just this fucking spiral that can be avoided if I, you know, understand what people want and make that content, and then make what I want to make, and then just accept with the way that it does, you know.
Can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, right.
Like so my question is, you know, obviously we probably have to do stuff locally, right? Because like you said, there's a bunch of artists that make hella money that have no social media presence. That's because they built relationships and stuff locally and in real life.
Yeah.
So the main question is, do museums and art galleries accept work that's not original? I've never, for the most part, all I've seen is always original work, really, right?
Well, first of all, there's a gallery that accepts anything. I'll make that very clear. There are galleries on every level, bro. There's mom and pop galleries that will just like that, like your work and don't even care about the business side of things. They may throw your shoes up for $1,200, say they're going to take 10%, and then let it sit, see what happens. The reality is galleries are a business first and foremost if you're trying to get paid. So most of them, regardless of if it's quote unquote like original work or not, they have an idea in mind of the work that they want to put in the gallery before they put it in the gallery. So they may come to your work and say, that looks amazing. That's some of my favorite artwork I've ever seen. I would love to have you in my gallery, but I can't because nobody will buy that. And if that's the way that they believe, they're not gonna buy into it. So like, really, I'm sure there are plenty of galleries that would like that work. It's just finding the right ones, and that's where it's like, it's difficult, right? Because there are things you can do to place yourself in the eyes of galleries, right? So like making paintings a certain size. Shoes are great because anybody can buy them. So like that's marketable, but maybe the fact
you think shoes would do well in a gallery?
I think they could do well. I don't see any reason why they can't. I don't know, man. It's uncharted territory. You know what I mean? Like it just
looks like we got to get it popping, fellas.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But like I do want to reiterate to anybody listening too, it is very important that you understand that the galleries are, but in every single way, a business to those people. There are very few people that are going to accept your work and take in your work because they like your work. They're going to take it in if they think that it'll sell.
Are you familiar with the gallery that your old professor is trying to get his artwork into?
He's gone into many galleries, and some of them I am familiar with, and some of them I'm not.
Are they like major ones or like mom and pop ones?
Some of them are. A lot of them he's traveled across the world to do. He's going to be putting a gallery in Berlin very soon. He had to transport. I was talking to him about. He transported one of his, or I think it was 4 paintings across the country to California to do some gallery shows there. The other thing, which also for anybody out there that wants to do this, plus I should be very clear, I haven't done this before. So this is all from my mentors and like things that I understand from talking to people in the art world. This is not my personal experience, so take it with a grain of salt. But that being said, there are 2 like approaches to it, Sean. There's like putting your piece in a gallery to sell, and then there's shows. Shows can be also like nonprofits can want you to do shows to draw in exposure. There are companies that could want you to do shows. There are like actual galleries that are looking to also sell your work. They'll bring you in for a full-time show. So like if you introduce your work less as this is a piece of art and more as this is a show that will bring people in that nobody has ever seen before, that can oftentimes bring a lot of exposure to galleries, and that can be worth the price of admission for paying for you to do it. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I've never thought about galleries. I mean, we all know what they are, but when it comes to like shoes, I've never thought of custom shoes being in an art gallery. I mean, outside of Gallery Secure, of course, but you know what I mean. Like I guess traditional with like canvas and oil paintings and stuff like that. Like, would they be accepting of it? So I don't know. It's just something I'm thinking about. Maybe gotta break through one time. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, buddy.
Dude, and I was gonna say, just to cap this too, like there's an angle for all art. Like, that's why art gets shit. It's like you can talk your way into anything, but like there's value in that too. Because if it's true, then it's true. So like Dylan, for example, if Dylan told me that he wanted to do an art show, then I'd be like, okay, well, let's think of a statement. You know, let's look at your body of work. Let's look at like what you've accomplished and why that's appealing to a crowd of people. And if you're presenting that to a gallery, if you say, I paint shoes, here are the shoes I paint in, they look at them, they may look at it and be like, who the fuck cares? Like, why are you here? Because they just don't get it. But if you present it as, you know, hundreds of thousands of people have been involved in this community, you know, shoes are one of the most prevalent, ever-changing, ubiquitous things on the planet. And we have all shared in the same experiences, and these designs that I've done have, you know, communicated these shared experiences to people. Then they'd be like, oh, so what you're telling me is you've made art that has connected hundreds of thousands of people. And the most valuable thing about art is influence. So it's like, it's a pretty cool show if you pitch it like that, you know? So kind of the same thing with you, Sean, is, you know, I'm like, I can see several angles that you could introduce to me if I was a gallery owner that it would be interesting or at least considered for a show, you know?
Well, I need to talk to you then, buddy, because
Sorry, consultations are $100 an hour. On my birthday, 300. So
I'm
you're
sure
gonna
you
have to
can
send
tell
an
me in
appointment.
10 minutes. So what is that? Like $20?
I'll take $20 for absolutely. I think if you guys are cool, unless there's something else that you wanted to add on, we're at a nice point in time. Do you guys want to wrap it up here?
It's a good spot.
Cool with it.
Okay, cool. Is there anything that you guys would like to mention before we close around out? Anything you have coming up or anything to plug?
Nope. Patreon. That's about it. I'm beat Dylan to it.
Thank
There you
you.
go. There you go. No idea what day this one's being released, so there's probably a YouTube video either just released or coming up soon. So Dejesus Custom Footwear on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And if you guys enjoyed the episode as well, and there are any topics that you're listening to that you had any comments or thoughts about, then please, by all means, leave it in the comments on YouTube. You can shoot us DMs on Instagram. We're always sharing stuff to our stories and trying to get you guys involved in different topics and just everything going on. So this, by all means, we want it to be a community-driven podcast, and we're really excited to have you guys listening. So I hope that you guys got a lot of value from the talk. We had a beautiful time talking about it, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Peace.